Nobody warns you that grief comes with a guest list. Jennifer died on a Tuesday. Pancreatic cancer. 6 weeks from diagnosis to burial. Too fast to say what needed saying. Too slow to watch her become someone I barely recognized. She was 53. She still had a Pinterest board called When We Finally Go to Italy. We never went. 26 years of marriage. She left her socks on the bathroom floor and made coffee too strong. And somehow none of it ever annoyed me. She was the architecture of my ordinary life. When she died, the walls stayed standing. None of it meant anything anymore. What no grief counselor prepared me for was what my family would do next. Nothing. Here's the cast. Hannah, my older sister, 61, 40 minutes away. Rachel, my younger sister, 55, always about to call. Brooke, my daughter, 28, 45 minutes away with her husband and 2 kids. Austin, my son, 26, 12 minutes from my front door. 4 people, close enough to matter. 2 of them my own children. They came to the funeral. Free food, socially acceptable tears. Hannah told me, "James, if you need anything, you call us." I believed her. I didn't yet know how narrow that promise was. Grief made me a cook. Jennifer had always run the kitchen. In her absence, I found I was good at it, and that standing over a stove was the closest thing to peace I had left. I made pot roast, lasagna, her stuffed peppers, packaged it all into containers, and invited people over. That first Sunday the house was full. Noisy, kids running around, Hannah and Rachel bickering about 1987. I thought, okay, we're going to be okay. I had no idea how badly I was misreading the room. The Sundays kept coming. The people stopped. Not all at once. A slow dimming nobody could quite name. Hannah lasted 6 Sundays before conflicts appeared. Rachel's visits thinned to nothing. Brooke and Morgan were swallowed by their kids' schedules. And Austin, 12 minutes away, I drove it once just to check. Stopped after 3 months. I called him one November night. He let it go to voicemail, texted back 2 hours later. "Can't tonight, rain check." The rain check never got collected. I counted. That first year, 4 people called me a combined 11 times. Hannah, 3. Rachel, 2. Brooke, 4. 2 of those accidental pocket dials. Austin, twice. One of them to ask about his old camping gear. I didn't go quietly. I kept calling, kept cooking, drove to Brooke's uninvited, and sat in the driveway too embarrassed to knock. When she finally opened the door, she looked at me like she'd forgotten I existed. "Dad, we were just heading out." They weren't. I drove home and ate pot roast alone in Jennifer's kitchen. I never stopped calling it that, and went to bed at 9. Year 2 became year 3, then 4, then 5. My freezer filled with containers nobody came to eat. My therapist told me to set boundaries, to say what I needed, so I tried. I told Hannah I was struggling, lonely, invisible. She said, warmly, uselessly, "You know we love you, we're just busy." I told Rachel the same thing. She cut me off. "You have to stop being so sensitive. We have lives." I thought about Jennifer's hand on my knee in the car, saying nothing, just being there. Then I thought about being told I was too sensitive, and something in me went quiet in a way I didn't recognize yet. Year 7, Austin called, actually called, needing $26,000 in 2 weeks for a business mess he wouldn't explain. I gave him every penny, because he was my son, because some fool part of me thought this might be the crack that let the light back in. For 2 years, while he paid it back in installments, the calls were regular. The day the debt cleared, the phone went silent again. I turned 67 on a Sunday. I cooked myself a birthday dinner and called everyone. Nobody came. Brooke sent a card. Hannah texted. Rachel called for 4 minutes, 2 of them about her neighbor's fence. Austin sent a cake. I sat at a table set for 6 and ate alone, and I asked Jennifer, out loud, what I should do. She's been gone 10 years. She doesn't answer anymore. I finished my pot roast. I did the dishes, and over the following weeks, quietly, I made up my mind. I told no one. I hired a realtor from 3 towns over and had the house assessed, $430,000. The house where we'd raised our kids and hosted a decade of empty Sundays. I said list it. It sold in 3 weeks, cash, to a young couple with a baby on the way. While it was in escrow, I moved the rest of my life quietly out of reach, pulled my accounts somewhere harder to trace, Not illegally, just inconveniently. Cancelled my phone, got a new number I gave to no one, closed the accounts Jennifer had set up years ago, found a 2-bedroom apartment 3 hours away, near a lake, in a town called Millhaven. The kind of place where nobody asks questions because everyone there is running from the same kind of silence. I packed what mattered, Jennifer's photographs, her grandmother's quilt, her cast-iron skillet, and left the rest, including the 6-place table. On the last day I walked through every room, locked the door, and left the key for the realtor. No note. Millhaven gave me what a decade of Sundays never had. I slept 11 hours the first night. I walked the 6-mile lake trail every morning. I cooked for one, which sounds sad and maybe is a little, but there's something clean in it too. I found a bookstore, and a man who was right about Cormac McCarthy, and Tuesday mornings became the best part of my week. 6 weeks later, Hannah tried my old number and got nothing. Brooke called the landline, disconnected. The 4 of them compared notes and realized none of them could say when they'd last actually spoken to me. Brooke drove to the house and found a stranger with a baby on her hip. Austin tried to file a missing persons report. The police told him a 67-year-old man who sold his house and closed his accounts isn't missing. He left. Hannah hired someone to find me. It took 3 months, because I wasn't hiding. I just hadn't told anyone where to look. My name was on the lease, the library card, the gym membership. Nobody asked. Brooke found me first, crying on my steps. "We didn't know where you were," she said. "That's sort of the point," I told her. She asked how I could do this. I asked her when my birthday was. She got the date wrong at first, then corrected herself. "How many times did you call me last year?" I asked. Long silence. 4, she said. 2 were accidental. I told her everything. The 10 years of Sundays, the driveway, the frozen containers, the money I gave Austin, and watched him vanish again, once the debt was paid. "Your mother died," I said, "and you all moved on. I understand that. But I didn't disappear. I was right there, and you just stopped calling." She apologized. I told her I knew she meant it, right now, because I wasn't where she expected me to be. Hannah came 2 weeks later. I let her buzzer ring 3 times before answering. I'm not a monster. She sat in my clean kitchen expecting to find wreckage, and found a man who'd slept 8 hours. I asked her the same question. How many times in 12 months? 3. 40 minutes away, 3 times in a year. "I'm sorry," she said, and meant it. Hannah was never dishonest. It just didn't move me the way it once would have. "Are you going to forgive us?" she asked. "No," I said. "You had 10 years to be my family. You were busy. Love isn't the same thing as access. You don't get to ignore someone for a decade and collect forgiveness like a package you forgot to pick up." Rachel called and told me I was being selfish. I laughed, a real laugh. I reminded her of the exact words she'd used years earlier. "Stop being so sensitive. We have lives." I took that advice, I said. I stopped feeling things about it. Then I left. I told her goodbye, and I meant it completely. Austin came last, 3 hours drive, my camping gear in a bag, looking like he hadn't slept in days. He told me the truth I half expected, that every time he looked at me he saw Jennifer, and it hurt too much. So he stopped looking. And then months became years and he told himself he'd deal with it later. I believe every word of that, I told him. It doesn't change anything. I explained the money, the disappearing act the moment the debt cleared, the years I'd spent counting days. There's no way back, I said. Only a way forward. 2 people who share a history. Dinner once a year somewhere neutral. That version of me who waited by the phone is retired. "That's not a father," he said. "That's a stranger." "Yeah," I said, "it is. Welcome to how I felt for 10 years. He left before noon. He didn't take the camping gear. I haven't thought about it since. I want to be clear. This wasn't a breakdown. It was clear-eyed and deliberate. I gave them 10 years of evidence I was still here. I gave them warnings, and was told I was too sensitive. I gave them money, Sundays. A father who kept setting 6 plates because hope is a hard habit to kill. And then I killed it. Here's the part nobody tells you. I don't miss them. Not the way I missed Jennifer, which was a missing with its own weather system. What I'd actually been grieving for 10 years wasn't them. It was the idea of them. The family we were before she died. That family ended the day she did. I just took a decade to accept it. Now I walk 6 miles every morning around a lake that asks nothing of me. I argue about books on Tuesdays, with a man becoming the best friend I've had in 30 years. I sleep without the 3 a.m. dread of waiting for people who don't call. Jennifer, if you're watching, I finally stopped setting the table for people who weren't coming. I know you'd tell me to forgive them. You were always better than me that way. But you're not here, and without you, neither is the man who waited. That man booked a ticket to Italy 3 weeks after Austin left. Florence, then Rome, then south until I run out of road. I'm going to eat the best meal of my life somewhere you never got to see, and raise a glass to you, not to the family, just to you. The only one who ever made showing up worth it. I'm here for both of us, Jen, finally.